Hello and welcome. My name is Brenda Sullivan. I am an herbalist and from the New England Herbary. This is a DBA of Thompson Street Farm LLC, and welcome to the Herbs of Samhain, Ancient Magic Memory, and the Turning of the New Year. Just to let you know, I do these free workshops uh, at the end of every month, the last Sunday of every month. So feel free to join us live. And I apologize because I've had to re-record this. I forgot to record the live workshop. We had 5 people join us. It was amazing. So I'm re-recording this because I realized at the end that I didn't record. So I apologize. So I'm going to run it right through again. We also pulled the 2 oracle cards, and I have taken an image of them, and I'll post them on that slide, and I'll go through what they mean to me. I asked some of the members some of the guests what that meant to them. We had a great discussion, and I apologize it wasn't recorded. So let's get into it. So Samhain is the fire gates open and the nights grow longer. The scent of wood smoke lingers, and many centuries ago, our ancestors gathered at the fire's edge, marking the final harvest, whispering the names of those who had passed that year into the dark, and honoring the thinning of the veil. Now, it is believed that this time of year, as we go into the darker months and we have less daylight, that the veil of the seen and unseen is thinned, and our ancestors can come through and be with us. And how I got into this is I am of Viking and Celtic heritage, and I didn't know this until I did a DNA. My husband and daughter had passed away in 2023, and different things, different time. But my husband, my husband died of cancer, and so I had to do some genetic testing, and that's how I found out of the Celtic Viking. I have quite a bit of Viking blood in me. So I didn't know that. So, my family has been here since the 1500s, here, meaning the United States. They came over, Dutch colony, settled New Amsterdam, and then they moved west over the centuries. And my father's side of the family came over in the late 1800s, 1900s, from a small town in Sweden in the northern Norway, Swedish border. So, and then they came by boat, hitched a ride on a train, went west, then got in a covered wagon and went the rest of the way, and ended up in a small Swedish little um, village on the northeast side of Washington State. So, as far as I had known growing up, that we were American. Nobody really knew where anybody was from because everybody had been there for so long. So it was interesting to find out that I am of Celtic Viking ancestry. So that's how I've been getting into this, and also as a farmer, you follow the seasons of the year naturally. So now it kind of makes sense why I gravitate towards this lifestyle per se. And so I thought it would be great to share this with you all. So, so in the Celtic year, there are 4 fire festivals, and we call it the Wheel of the Year. We have Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lammas. And these are all times of year. The Celtics did not have a calendar. And so these were the seasonal gateways that shaped their life throughout the year. Each one was marked by a fire, and each one was tied to the earth, the ancestors, and transformation. You have to understand that back in those days, this is prior to, Catholicism or the, religion. These people were lived by the seasons. They did not have clocks. They did not have, their type of calendar was the sun and the moon. That's how they live their lives. Just similar to what a farmer does, or an avid gardener for that matter. So this is the wheel of the year. So technically, Samhain is the beginning of the year, because to them it was the beginning of the darkness, and then it goes into the light. So you have the Yule, the midwinter, the winter. I have a typo here. Winter solstice, Imbolc or Candlemas, which was marked. That was like, quarter of the way through of the season. Then you had the spring equinox, where the ground was thawing, the snow was melting, it was getting warmer, the sun was up longer. They were coming out of their darkness. It was equal day, equal night. And then Beltane or May Day was the next fire festival, where they have more daylight than darkness, and babies are being birthed, and the ground is coming alive, and there is all kinds of great happening. The earth is waking up. Then you have the midsummer solstice, and again, that is equal day, equal night again. And actually, no, it's the equinox. Yeah, so solstice. That's like the end of summer. And so then you're beginning. It's more darkness, less light, more darkness, and then you have um, your first harvest, which is Lammas, which is in August, and then you have your Mabun, which is in September. And then you have, that's right, the equinox is equal day, equal night. And then that's your third harvest or second harvest. And then Samhain is your third harvest, which is the last fire festival of the year. And you start all over again. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to be talking about this time of year, where it's August 1st through October 31st. Now, in some cultures, I believe that they celebrate Samhain. It's a 3-day festival. It may start October, depending on where you are. In Scotland, Ireland, I'm not sure. Depending on the festival, it could start on October 31st and go November to December, or November 2nd, which technically in the Catholic Church, November 2nd is All Souls Day. Some people will celebrate it November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So it'll depend on, it's in that general time frame. I don't think it's been ever nailed down to the exact time frame. But what is interesting is that we see echoes of this ancient celebration in even today. We have, the fall fairs, we have Halloween, and then we have, the Catholic Church honoring those who have passed that year on All Souls Day, which is November 2nd. And they will read the names of those who passed from that year. And it's just interesting that they incorporated this ancient tradition into the Catholic Church. They didn't make it up, or they didn't discover it. They borrowed it from the Druids and pagans back in the day. This is how they've been doing this for centuries. So if you're into old history, there's a little morsel for you. They didn't create it themselves. They borrowed a lot of it from the ancients. So we have the Celtic herbalism in August, and they believed in had a deep respect for nature and healing of the powers of the plants. These guys lived very low. In the old days, herbs weren't just medicine, they were considered protectors, storytellers, and guides. At Samhain, they became bridges between the seen and unseen. In the spring, these herbs spring is when everything's coming alive. It's the time to get married. We have May Day. We have women creating charms, looking for their loved one, hoping that, or their husband, and they go to the herbalist or the wise woman, and they ask for, or apothecary, they ask for little charms to find the man of their dreams. So this is, again, herbs played a big role in daily life, not only in medicinal, but also in the spiritual. So we have mugwort, which is the dream pathway. Now, mugwort is something here in Connecticut, in the Northeast. Connecticut just declared it as an invasive species. Now, normally, mugwort was not a native plant to the United States. It was brought over back in the day from the colonists, and then it became a weed, and now it's everywhere. Now it's naturalized. So, but it's a great herb. It's great for anti-inflammatory properties. Something to drink if you have achy bones, but it also helps you dream. It helps the mind have correct dreams, right dreams. And I forgot to mention this, but in the PDF that I sent, I'll put a link in the show notes. You can download a dream PDF, so you can identify different types of dreams and what kinds of herbs. So if you have dreams that are too vivid, too scary, too over the, very unsettling, there are herbs to help you calm yourself down, and address some of those issues. I, for one, can't use mugwort too much for dreaming, vivid dreams, because of the trauma that I experienced with the loss of my daughter unexpectedly, and then the loss of my husband 4 months later from cancer. My daughter died of a respiratory infection, and we couldn't get her to the hospital in time. She had severe cerebral palsy, and it was a mess. So I don't do mugwort anymore because my dreams are too disturbing. So eventually, maybe someday, I'll be able to come back, but I just relive those days over and over and over again, and it's just, I can't go through it. So if you have had a terrible trauma in your life, I don't recommend use lavender. Lavender is a nervine. It's a calmer herb, and it'll help you have a little more safer herbs. So, mugwort was burned at thresholds to protect the home. It carried it was thought of second sight. The third eye. Consider that Celtics consider that a second sight and safe passage. And they also put it in their shoes. They would slip it in their shoes when they walked. So they would have safe travels. And it also was in pillows for spirit guidance. Again, you can add lavender to it if you'd like. Now, rosemary is in here, and it's for remembrance. Now, back in the day, rosemary is a Mediterranean plant, so it would not have been something that would be grown naturally in Ireland or Scotland because it's too far north. I am assuming that when the Romans came and invaded those areas all those centuries ago, that they brought these herbs, that and sage, with them, and that's how they got to know these herbs and figured out how to grow them. It was burned, and the rosemary, to go back, was laid in people's graves. It was burned in the hearth, and in the smoke they would whisper their loved one's name. It is a symbol for memory, connection. It was carried in their pockets, and it was woven in wreaths or added to offerings. Now, in modern usage, you can do the similar. It's an intention, okay? So you don't have to do exactly what they did. If your intentions are good, you can still do this. Is brew it in a tea. You can add it to a simmer pot and add with other herbs. So your house. Well, what a simmer pot is just it's a pot on the stove with water. You don't need any fancy candles or burning incense or none of that stuff. You do it the old school way, which is what I do. You just get a pot of herbs and put it on a stove in a pot of water. You put it a low flame or low heat. A crock pot would be just fine. And you just let the herbs bubble away or simmer away on the stove for however long. Just, you got to watch it. You got to keep adding water, because the water, it will evaporate. But you can have it as a cup of tea. It's great for memory. It's a great antioxidant. Rosemary is a wonderful herb. You could also add it to food. Have rosemary chicken, or add it to a salad or something, dressings. You can incorporate these herbs in your daily life, whether it be intentional spiritual rituals like this, or you can do it as in your food, add it to your food. So an old herbal saying that I tried to find out where this originally came from, and it's the person who wrote this it's anonymous. Nobody really knows where it came from. But he who would live forever must gather sage in May. And as an herbalist, this is so true, because when we harvest our herbs, we want to harvest them at the peak of their essential oils. And for sage, it's May. Now, for lavender, I grew a ton of lavender, and for lavender to have its highest essential oil content, for me in this region, in the Northeast region, it was the last 2 weeks of May or June into the first 2 weeks of July. So we all have, when you grow these types of herbs, you're always watching the plants and you're monitoring them to find their most prime point of when you can harvest them. And for sage, it's May. For lavender, for me in the Northeast, it's June or July. Wherever you are in the Mediterranean, it may be earlier because your climate is warmer. Again, lavender is a Mediterranean plant as well. So you may be harvesting it a lot earlier. And if you're in another region like me, or the further north you go, it may be later in the season, more July than May or June or July. So sage is often linked to the cycles of the moon, or sacred times like Beltane and May 1st. I mean, sage is a great herb for those of us who are menopausal, that still have hot flashes. Again, it's a moon plant, moon cycle. And so having cups of sage tea to help calm those hormones down so you're not having those frequent hot flashes, that's that's a great herb, you know. And this quote reflects a magical medicinal worldview in which harvesting herbs at the right time enhances their life-giving properties, not only spiritually but also medicinally. Um, So you can, the rituals, again, you can burn it and cleanse energy and wards off spirits. It is used in homes and fields at Samhain to prepare for the darker half of the year. Now, you don't necessarily have to burn something to be able to still have the cleanse the energy of the room. I contribute this to Margie Flint. She's another internationally known herbalist, and she creates a tincture. So she takes dried sage, she puts it in a quart jar of vodka. So it's a half of dried herb. You fill it to the top rim of with vodka, and you steep it for 6 weeks. Then you strain off the contents, and then you take what's left of it, and then you make up smaller batches of 50-50. 50 of the tincture, sage tincture, and then you can either add distilled water or witch hazel, or you can add additional vodka if you want. You just want it to be able to evaporate. And when she goes on a plane, and she's not a big fan of flying, she'll spritz her feet and around her area before the next person comes to sit down. And she's just noticed over the years that the anxiety level kind of drops with those around her. She has, some people have noticed, that something smells great in this area, and she just smiles. She doesn't tell anybody what she does. So I've made little sage bottles. Sometimes I'll add a little crystal to them for extra little energetic boost, and I'll spritz a room if I want something positive to happen, or I just want tensions to be calmed down. I'll spritz the room or the area that I'm standing. So that's another way. If you can't light up a smudge stick, you can make a tincture of it. And I also want to mention that I do not recommend using white sage. White sage is a Native American herb. It's grown out in the Southwest, and it is an absolutely spiritual herb, and it really needs to be honored and respected and hands off. It has been over harvested in government lands. Even people just are going out there and mowing down acres and acres of wild white sage, and it is becoming almost extinct. And it really, we need to, as white people, we need to leave it alone and let Native Americans or First Nations people, that is their herb, and we need to respect it and not touch it. So if you can grow it yourself, that's great. They do sell the plants. However, if you're going to go out and wildcraft it, don't. Unless you're a Native American, I just respect their history and heritage. That is a very sacred plant to those people, and we can use Mediterranean sage in its place. So that's my sandbox or my soapbox for the difference between Mediterranean sage and white sage. Yarrow. Yarrow is the seer's herb. It's an optimal herb. You can also add lavender. If you can't get yarrow, you could do the both, or you could use just lavender. You can place it under your pillow and dream. You could add mugwort to it. You could do mugwort, yarrow, and lavender and make a dream pillow. Medicinally, yarrow should be drank as an herb, or you can make it into a tincture. It has cooling properties, and it's astringent and stimulant, And it is a hot or cold normalizer. So for women who suffer from either being too hot or being too cold, or you just, you need a normalize your nervous system, um, this is a great herb for you. It brings, it's a great blood supplier, adds blood. So that's probably reasons why it's a great herb for the brain. So lavender is a nervine. It's a group of herbs, and that's calming. It's not a antidepressant, but it's a calming herb. And so the modern uses for yarrow, again, you can add them to dreams sachets. You can infuse them in baths. You can blend them with mugwort for a gentle vision, if you want vivid dreams. So you can do that. Either way, you're going to have medicinally. It's going to be anti-inflammatory, and it's going to be normalizing, your body system. So the rituals is, now again, I want to point out that white yarrow is the most medicinal versus the other colors. The other colors are hybrids. And when I was up at Sage Mountain Botanical Sanctuary in Vermont, central Vermont, I was working with Emily Ruff and Betsy Bancroft. And they were talking about how the other colors, the yellows and the pinks, and I think that's the ones that I'm aware of. There might be other colors. The white yarrow is what you're looking for. I had actually had a yellow yarrow, and it was the least medicinal of all of them. So I pulled it out of my garden and I tossed it. But yarrow in general calms the nervous system, and it helps open up intuitive sight, but it also is great for your whole body. So find white. We all should be taking white yarrow. So bringing the old ways into today. So you can do smudging in the home to clear out negative energy and protect your space before or after a major event. And this can be either done by doing a smudge stick or spritzing your area. Rosemary you can create a wreath, or using rosemary in meals to honor loved ones who have passed. Um, Another thing that you can do is that since rosemary is bendable, it's not a strong branch or twigs, you can create a round wreath of rosemary, and you can talk to your ancestors through the center of the wreath, and then you can go out into the woods and you can either put it at the base of a tree, like pretending that they're fairies, but leave the wreath at the base of the tree for the fairies to come. They will hear your intentions and your whispering of your loved, or your honoring your loved ones, and they will take the message to them. You can also leave it on a tree, on a tree branch as well. Same thing, same concept. So adding lavender to bath water, or making lavender sachets to bring peace and restful sleep. I use a lot of lavender. I really highly recommend just getting into the lavender. And then we have the mugwort, which is creating a dream pillow or burning it in as incense to encourage prophetic dreams and use while meditation. Now, again, when we talk about dreams, we have a zillion different types of dreams. We have, some dreams are muddled, some are cryptic, some are wandering, they just don't make sense. Mugwort will bring you the true dreams, the vivid dreams, as well. And again, check out my PDF, it's in the show notes. So, The candle ritual and reflection. The candle right here. So as we consider Samhain as the beginning of the year for us, if you are following the Celtic calendar, now what are you willing to release? What light will you carry into the dark? We're going to be in the dark coming. It's the nights are longer than days. And what are you carrying into the dark? I'm hoping that I can start a new life. The house just closed, and my life of 32 years living in that house with my husband and daughter and my stepson. Um, I need to move forward. This is a new beginning for me. The land that I purchased to expand the herbary, to offer classes in person is a dream that I've always been wanting to do. It's not going to happen this year, probably not next year, but it'll happen in the future. Stay tuned. Make sure you join my newsletter so you can keep track of what's going on. But I can bring into the darkness hope and peace and gratitude for the life that I had and the life that I am going to have, that it'll be productive and sacred. Um, so, um, so the oracle cards that I pulled for this for the live workshop was interesting. So these are, this is a message from our collective ancestors. That was the purpose of the pulling of this card. And again, if these cards don't mean anything to you, if you don't see any, feel anything or resonate with you, then the message is not for you. And that's okay. Maybe next month when I pull two cards again, the message will resonate with you. Don't think, there's no shame in any of this or disappointment. So, I want you to take a few minutes and to sit and think about whether these mean anything to you personally. So we have 26 and we have 51. So one of the gals in the group, she came up with the number 8. And she says, "Oh, look at that, 26. 2 plus 6 is 8. Interesting." Jupiter is also, this is cordyceps, is a medicinal mushroom. It's highly potent, and it it has a great, these two cards for me personally have a great deal of meaning to me and my ancestors or my loved ones, the wolf spirit and family. It's So let's get into it. So for me, I'll tell you my interpretation of it, and it's personally. You do you, I'll do me, and I'll share my interpretation. So my husband was a graduate of Boston College. I was also talking about the United States and how it's good. We're in a dark time right now in the United States. Lots of stuff is happening, and it's not good. So I see this card as the eagle of representing the United States and changes and revival. We need a revival here in the U.S. Cordyceps is a highly, highly medicinal herb, and I'll get into the details of it because I'll read the book. I have these little books here. You can see of the Herbal Astrology Oracle, and we have the Sacred Forest Oracle as well. So, so I talked about that from a global perspective. Um, this is a healing herb, healing the herbs. It's specifically for cancer and tumor. So you can put your own spin on that. But for me personally, from a ancestral perspective, my husband was a graduate of Boston College, and Boston Eagles was he loved eagles. That was his spirit animal because of his college experience. And cordyceps just so happens to be the medicinal mushroom that I had given him during his cancer treatments. He had brain cancer, tumors. He had 7 tumors in his head. The survival rate was 1 to 3% of glioblastoma cancer, and obviously he didn't make it. However, I tried my best to give him an anti-inflammatory diet, and cordyceps, it has great um, studies done on it for cancer treatments to help reduce the cancer. And at one point, he was in remission. The cancers were shrunk. But then when my daughter passed away, life just he kind of blew up and gave up and passed. So this has a great deal of resonance to me. Now, the second one, the wolf spirit, um, I was, to me, this is my daughter speaking to me. Again, I don't have family anymore, so I'm by myself, and the family was everything that I had, and now I'm by myself. I'd written a book called Meg of the North Woods. My husband and I were working on it when he got sick. We've been working on it for years. I've not published this book because I had sent it to the editor for editing before Katie died, and it returned after both of them had died. And I couldn't bring myself to read the edits and finish it. It will get finished. However, in this book, there is a wolf, a lone wolf in the book. And if you go on there's a trailer that I made um, on BJ Sullivan on YouTube, BJ Sullivan Books. There's a trailer, and in it features a wolf. And that trailer was, I had shown it to my daughter, has beautiful music. And she absolutely loved it. And I had videotaped her enjoying this beautiful music with images of themes of the book out of the book. So to me, this is my daughter talking to me. So I'm gonna read you out of the book what cordyceps is, and then we'll go into the guidance of the herb. And again, how interesting, I find this so interesting that the ancestors are here. My family is here with me right now. Okay, so herbs of Jupiter, we're talking about cordyceps right now. 26, cordyceps revival. It's upright energy, renewal, soaring to new heights, opportunity, activation, and resurrection. Originally described 2,000 years ago in traditional Chinese medicine and Tibetan medicine as the exotic caterpillar, fungus, or winter worm, cordyceps is a parasite fungus that grows out of the head of mummified caterpillars, insects, and many other kinds of larvae. It has been gathered at high altitudes, primarily in Nepal and Tibet. And so it's interesting. So far, there are over 1,000 recognized species of cordyceps, as many as there are different hosts on which it grows. The first peoples to discover the many benefits of cordyceps initially observed animals eating the wild fungus and growing strong in the process. Farmers and herders either dried the fungus and made a tonic tea or cooked it with meat and traditional Tibetan dishes. Now, I use a lot of cordyceps. I love it in a stew. It's a little chewy, um, but it really tastes good. It has a nice earthy flavor to it, and I really like it in a beef stew or a very comforting food. I gave it to my husband in his smoothies, and he really liked it. It's a very pleasant herb to eat, a mushroom. In traditional Chinese medicine, it has been used as a heal all for centuries to treat fatigue, weakness, sickness, low sex drive, kidney conditions, and heart disease. Now, modern Chinese medicinal hospitals use cultivated forms of cordyceps alongside pharmaceuticals as a treatment for cancer and tumors. Monks have long revered cordyceps as a longevity mushroom and utilized it to boost endurance and enhance lung capacity. Thousands of years later, studies now confirm that it indeed slows the effects of aging and stress, helping to keep the body free from disease. Ruled by the wise, stimulating, and expansive powers of Jupiter, cordyceps provides a jovial energy, a sense of renewal, resilience, and accomplishment. Jupiter's herbs are amplified, joyful, and mood enhancing herbs that inspire positive feelings. So the guidance is it's time to soar to new heights. Energy is available to manifest your greatest dreams. Passion is in alignment with knowledge. Energy is in alignment with matter. Like the great eagle, you are blessed with a connection to the divine. You have an innate ability to live in the realm of spirit, yet remain connected and balanced within the realms of earth. From the height of the clouds, where the Great Spirit dwells, the great eagle mirrors your ability to observe and expand awareness and achieve great sight beyond the mundane. Eagle and cordyceps represent the courage to channel the higher mind, ether, the realm of illumination and higher consciousness. If you have been walking in the shadows, you are being asked to reconnect with the element of ether, the divine, and your higher mind. Heal your broken wings with love and seek a higher ground to observe the greatness of what you're made of. I hope that resonates with you. If it does, drop a note in the comments below. Let me know how these cards resonate with you. So now we have the wolf spirit family, number 51, if any of those things resonate with you. You are napping on the forest floor, nestled on soft moss, when a wet nose nudges you. You open your eyes to meet the gaze of an enormous wolf. Now, that is the opening of, in my book, Meg of the North Woods. the opening of the introduction of the wolf. She's on the forest floor, and this wolf comes up to her and nudges her. That blows my mind right there. As you sit up, you notice that an entire pack is sitting around you. You feel so safe and strangely included as part of this clan. Your family has your back. For some people, their family are those related by blood, while for others, their friends are their true family. Many might find that it is their connection to those in spirit who are indeed their true family. Whoever and wherever your family right now, they are supporting you. You are safe. You are safely communicate your truth with your family members. This is the time to be willing to communicate from the depth of your being. Be willing to stand, talk, and address others from the center of your being. This heals. Many people have misconceptions and false stereotypes about wolves. They don't understand that wolves are highly social and loyal. Family means everything to a wolf. Each pack member has a place in the social strata of the clan. Wolves also are excellent communicators. They use their voice in various configurations. They also use their expressions to convey meaning to other pack members. They are highly protective of their other members of their pack, yet they enjoy playing even into adulthood. The spirit of the wolf says, support is all around you, even if you are not aware of it. Release the belief that you have to go it alone. You don't. This is the time to heal any rifts in your family. Give encouragement to those in your soul tribe, your family, and your community. Allow yourself to be supported. The wolf medicine. If that resonates with you, please put it down in the notes and let me know. Share. We are a family here. Let's share. So the final blessing to you is, may the herbs of this season guard your doorway. May the dreams be tended, and may the voices of your ancestors walk with you in peace. Thank you, everybody, for joining me on this free Samhain workshop. I wish you well. Please let me know how this resonates with you. Peace, everybody. I love you. Have a good Samhain.